Warning, the following broadcast contains strong opinions, playful antics, and controversial topics causing off-the-rails fun. Chances for being offended are higher than average for sensitive people. Viewer discretion is not advised. Live a little and have some fun.
And it's instantaneously just stops again. I love it. Anyway, welcome to the Coach's Box. I don't know what episode it is. Don't really care. But guess what? We have a full house tonight. Somebody's microphone is on. It's crazy. I don't even care.
Hey,
it's
Jarvis.
Oh, who's with us here?
Look, Jarvis is here.
Was that Weston?
That is Weston. You can hear
Weston
probably.
says hi. Well, hey, just you jump off. Let's have Weston on the show tonight.
Yeah.
You just take the night off. Just bring him on. That's great.
He probably talks better than you do, Jarvis.
Oh, here we go.
Does he?
I mean,
Well-
this is a record. Jim's on here twice now.
In a
Twice
row.
in a row.
Hey,
In a
one
row.
more. That's called a streak.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Well,
he
is that-
won't be on here next week. No,
Yeah,
it's like
well.
it's like he pays his debts.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Here we go.
Here we go.
People he owes now, Jason.
Hey, I
Two people.
told you I was going to give you my credit card, Kevin. I said I would do that last week.
Man, good credit card.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, as everybody
Don't
can
start.
see, well, hey Weston, how's it going?
Hey,
bud?
Weston.
people on the show.
Hey, there we go. We actually have somebody good looking on the show. Look at that. That's a good looking young man right there. Jarvis, you're bringing it down here. Just leave Weston on. Anyway, as everybody can see, we have a special guest. He's probably wondering, what is this three-ring circus? As Jim alluded to earlier before we came on, we have Rob Logan, who's one of the many podcast hosts that we've been associated with from Let's Talk Sports. Rob, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. I wore my West Union jersey for you guys, my Jonathan Moxon for you guys for the occasion. I'm very happy to be here.
There you go. I mean, you've been somebody who's watched our show a little bit, and it's one of those things where we were kind of connected through Dan Harris, and now we have the opportunity to see each other's podcasts, and it's kind of a little community that we have. But you talk a little bit real quick here before we get into our show. I mean, you got into podcasting. It was kind of a thing where you're promoting your business, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I started a glove company, actually. I patented it and made a heated batting glove. That's what we actually started out with.
Hey.
And it was a glove that there was no wires, no batteries. You didn't need to recharge them and everything like that. There was a heating pad that was used as a heating element that was put into the glove, kind of sewn in, and they were reusable. You got 6 to 8 hours of heat. So I thought it was a great idea. Started the company. We actually made it all the way to, we went to winter meetings one year, and we were actually one of the presenters there at the winter meetings, and started to kind of try to get into, a larger selling market, and got slammed by the major leagues, got slammed by minor leagues. So we ended up focusing more on like high schools and little leagues. And then all of a sudden COVID happened and kind of wiped everything out. And, but I kept going with the podcast because I was, doing that as like a marketing thing and just doing interviews with people, and started and rolled that over into the Nova Nation podcast, which started and what got me linked with the Let's Talk Sports Network.
And that's how long you been doing the Nova Nation?
I started that in, I want to say 2018 was when we started.
Yeah,
So that second championship, we kind of were there that season talking about the season and obviously that championship win.
Yeah, that was a really good team right there. Just throw the graphic up a little bit. If you're looking for some good podcast, for a good podcast to check out, that's a very good podcast. And I know that you've kind of been on a lot of the other Let's Talk Sports kind of shows, and then just bringing on different guests. Who's the best guest that you've brought? Our best guest is like a guy named Bruce Valroy or Alan Davis. Nobody you've ever heard of. We've had the president of the at the time the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association, and he was also the president of the National at the time. Chris Nimmo on. When we first got started, but we don't talk about those days because we weren't produced by ourselves at that point. But that's probably as high as we get. We get a lot of local people who maybe come on. What's one of the biggest names you've ever had?
Chris, you were on my podcast.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Okay. Oh,
Oh
don't.
man,
do
it really got
that.
deep in here. I was like,
Wow.
boy.
Now I'm gonna have to hear this. Rob, you just had to
His
do that,
head
man.
just went from
Celebrity.
here to here.
So now we see why he's on the show this week. All right. Yeah.
Well, Jason, I didn't think you would be on because you said you were, doing floats and stuff. So I
Well,
figured you had, some
the
paper
float
mache that you
building
had to deal with.
has come to an end. Everyone was
Oh.
efficient in their float building, and I got my time in today, and it's over.
Nice.
Good for you.
So Rob, because everybody sidetracks these things. Okay, let's now be serious. Who is the biggest guest you've had on?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of good guests locally as well. Scott Van Pelt, who was a coach for the Golden State Warriors back when Steph Curry was a rookie. He was he was one of my favorite to have on the show just because of the connection with basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. My son's a big basketball fan. That's really
We kind of like basketball here too.
Yeah,
Our main
we kind
focus,
of like
yeah.
basketball.
really. But that's I'm a baseball player by trade, but my son has really, gotten into basketball. So I've started watching it a lot more over the last 10, 12 years. So he was a great interview just because of, what he went through, how he, is still friends with Steph Curry. That was a great, great episode there.
That's awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you being on here, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into our topics.
Hey, everything's fair game, though, right? I mean,
That's
we're
right,
live.
man.
Everything's okay. We're just.
Listen, I told Rob that there are no safe places here. When you come
Okay.
on this show, it
There's
doesn't
no safe
matter.
words.
No safe word. No, we don't. No Cantaloupe.
So who's going to be the first one to
Pumpernickel.
ask him which way he wipes then?
You.
Jason wants to know which way you wipe.
Hold on.
Forward,
I
backward,
just want to
Captain
know,
Morgan.
Jason. You
I did
lost-
not want to know. I'm just saying. I figured that would come up.
I was.
I
kinda
just want to know, Jason, did you gain the weight back from the colonoscopy that you lost in the prep?
I am still full of some. Yeah.
As you can see, we have some really professional topics here that we like to cover when we do this
Controversial.
show. Well,
Would you
it's
like me-
controversial times?
Would you like me to start there, Mr. Miller?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim. You're big
Oh,
time. Go
boy, here
ahead.
we
Just
go.
lead the show.
Big time, Jim.
Two shows in a row.
Gosh.
Go
Well,
ahead.
since Jarvis is here, we'll wait for the baseball topic here for a little bit, but let's talk about Mizzou-LSU.
Oh.
Just
You jerk.
hey,
Stupid Ohio State fans bringing this crap up.
no, I mean,
He just wanted to rub it in my gosh darn face.
no,
That's all
I
he wanted
didn't.
to do.
I thought
You're
hey,
such
did
a jerk. You
Did-
get on the
was I
show
negative
twice
at all
in a
on
row,
Saturday?
and then
Was
you're
I
going to bring up something that really upsets me, and now I'm fired up.
Was I negative on Saturday during the game? Not once.
No,
Okay.
I was.
I know you were. I know you were. But,
Run the gosh dang football.
Right?
That's all you got to do.
No.
2nd and 1. Let's drop back. Oh, wait, bad snap. Oh, now let's go for it on 4th and 32 when you have like a 0.0005% chance. I'm sorry, Drink sucked. He sucked Saturday.
My thing with Drink right now is his play calling and the clock management issue.
He's not
We
play
used to
calling
be-
anymore.
Well, I know he's not play calling, but
Right,
you're the head
but
coach.
still, he
You
could have
can
overruled
cancel
that call.
out.
Yeah, his clock management is awful. I thought the bigger issue was quarterback contain on third down. Four times.
Our defense
quarterback-
played like crap.
Quarterback broke contain.
But
on
it's
a simple-
LSU's offense, man.
On the
I
simple
mean, that's
stay in your lane.
Well, how many
And
times
bring
did
him
I
down.
say on our group? I said, "Spy the quarterback. Why is not one person designated after he's burned us like 3 or 4 times? Hey, you're wherever he goes, you going."
Hey, ends, don't try to get 10 yards up the field and around the tackle. Stay at home. Keep him in the middle. You don't have to get a sack.
It's still though it was a winnable game. Run the football.
Yeah,
you run the
you're
football on that 2nd and 1, and we scored too fast. As soon as they scored, it's the first thing I said in our group. Well, that was dumb. That was awful fast. And sure enough,
we didn't make any halftime adjustments.
Well,
Brian Kelly made all kinds of halftime adjustments.
I go back to I watched the post game conference with Drink, and none of them asked about you're 4 yards away from field goal position, and Jarvis already brought it up. That was my point on our group text was you're 2nd and 1 with the dude that's got 113 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Why it's 2 down territory to get 1 yard. You can fall forward. I know Jarvis likes that. You can fall forward and get a yard.
Hold on. The running back that you said was the second best running back on the team. Let's
Yeah.
let's bring that up.
That's fine.
I'll still
take
Mizzou needs to take a page from the Philadelphia Eagles book.
I was just going to ask Rob that.
Push.
You sure would take Pete.
Right. But
yeah,
I mean,
all kinds of Pete.
But nobody asked about that when they said in the post game. They brought up again. They brought up the idea of, hey, 4th and 32. Why didn't you punt? And mathematically and all that stuff that worked out. But it's like you don't put yourself in that situation again. And we talk about it sometimes. Sorry, Jarvis. Sometimes football coaches are just dumb and they make dumb decisions.
Jeez.
Mario Cristobal?
They overcoach.
They overcoach.
We saw
1,000%.
You can say that about any sport, by the way, Zach. I saw a lot of
I know, but we're talking
basketball
football.
coaches that overcoach.
If
I made a call down the road here, I bet there'd be some that would agree.
but Rob, I mean, we talk about dumb decisions. What about the one that actually cost somebody a game in the last 27 seconds? Mario Cristobal, what in the world was he thinking?
Well, he got rid of Mizzou real quick, didn't he? Golly, Ohio State.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I don't want to talk about it. I picked them to win. So
No, I'm trying to bring our guests into the conversation.
Well,
no.
Go ahead, Rob.
No. The thing with that to me, and going back to the overcoaching thing, it seems like some of these coaches need to put their stamp on the game, and they need to somehow, think up something different than what the norm is, just so we can say, hey, I did this, or, they're very me orientated. And I think some of these coaches have that issue. And like you guys said, it's not just, college football, it's everywhere. All these sports now, these coaches are like more me than they are team, in my opinion.
Product of social media, recruiting, and things like that. Drink's got to be in front of the camera, got to be doing his drink thing. And there's certainly a part to that. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Well, the
part of
drink
that-
thing. Come
Yeah,
on.
the
I
drink
mean,
thing,
I
I like-
agree. It's just man, we had to jump right back into Mizzou. The thing about Drinkwitz is, I mean, yeah, he's trying to land these 5-star dudes to come to Missouri. Like, who the hell wants to come from somewhere where it's nice and warm to come play at Mizzou? And if he's not in front of the camera, if he's not talking about how great he is at some level, some degree, these guys don't know who Eli Drinkwitz is. They know who Nick Saban is. They know who these other guys are. They don't know who he is. So he's got to do that. I get that.
But you do that by winning. You do that by winning.
Win more.
But why? I mean, if it don't, keep it simple. And that's all we had to do instead of and I think Rob's right, man. I mean, it's trying to do way too stinking much. Just leave it. Hey, it's like just run the flex, man. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do all the kinds of crazy stuff in basketball. Just run the flex, right? Right, Jarvis?
Yeah, I just saw some of your former players this weekend. We talked about flex.
I bet they freaking hate it.
Oh, they do.
So much.
I bet you can guess who it was.
I'm sure I can, within a couple Couple
Oh,
guesses,
you
probably.
get it on the first one. I'm
Probably.
sure.
But you know what? Hey, when you look back, they won games running it. So you know what? I guess it worked. But
He
either
won a
way,
he won a
That's you
district
putting your-
championship.
That's
did.
him putting his stamp on it.
I guess, yeah. By keeping it simple. That's what I did. But the overcoaching part, I mean, and we'll go ahead and jump into the probably the worst coaching decision that I've seen in my lifetime. It's Mario Cristobal. What was he thinking? Hey, listen, this was the one time where all you had to do is fall forward and you win the game.
You just take a knee.
Take a knee, fall forward.
You
You
have
can
to
fall
forward.
backwards if
Just
you
fall
want.
down.
Just
just do
down.
right? Yeah.
Just fall down.
I mean, okay, this is why I couldn't be an AD, because I would have ran down to the sideline. I would have told them, "Hey, give me your keys. Give me everything that you have. You are done. Get off this field. Take off your Miami stuff. You're done."
Lane Kiffin on the tarmac. He's not even going to make
Edwards.
it. Herb Edwards at the end zone.
That is stupid. How do you do that?
I don't understand it. I could
How is
not
not one of
believe
the
it.
assistant coaches just losing their mind, saying, "Dude, come on, no, just down it."
And once again, it goes back to the original thing was it was the offensive coordinator that called that play. Same thing with Mizzou and the 2nd and 1. It's the offensive
I've
coordinator
never
making the
been on
call
a-
and the head coach not having the guts.
Okay, I don't know.
Yes, I have, Jarvis. Yes, I have.
Have you coached football?
Yes, I have.
Okay, have you ever? I've never been in a
we go,
program
here we go.
where the head coach couldn't just
Override.
And
override
right,
everyone.
that's what I'm saying. The head coach has got to override that call. The head coach has to say, no. We got to give it to Cody Schrader. Who, by the way, Zach, what was his numbers again? You want to refresh my memory?
Why'd you go back to Mizzou again? God,
Stop it!
How about Miami?
Well,
No, I want McVay to admit that he was wrong in his comment
Well, he was
last week.
definitely wrong.
Good luck.
well, it's real simple. We've seen it happen hundreds of times where there's a play call in, they get lined up, and for no reason, a head coach calls a timeout. Probably because he didn't like the play call, he didn't like what was set up, he didn't like what he saw. Why didn't that happen in either situation?
Exactly.
Especially in the Miami Georgia Tech situation. And then you give up a touchdown pass to Georgia Tech in the last few seconds.
That's what actually I was going to say.
It's
Their
like you give up a Hail Mary
defense
to
was not prepared.
Navy.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, their defense was not even prepared to be on the field. Like that last play, they only rushed 4 guys, and they dropped everyone back, and the guy still got behind the defense. So I mean, to me,
Yeah, how's that?
players are not coached right to let a player, go deep on them. I mean, that's simple football right there. And the players themselves were totally unprepared to be on the field.
Was Miami out of timeouts at that point? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Worst case
'Cause if
scenario,
they had-
you
if
go
you walk
across the line of
timeout-
scrimmage.
If he walked away with timeouts in his pocket, he probably should be, Jarvis fired. Leave your clothes on
Jarvis
the sideline.
fired.
Leave the stadium.
I like
how
that.
about the Miami player? How about the Miami player that they put the camera on? What the blank are we doing? I mean, when the kids know,
That was
when
hilarious.
the kids know.
Oh, I mean, what do you tell? I mean, I don't even know how you go into the locker room after that.
Exactly.
I mean, I would just be like,
How
guys,
does the QB also not say, wait a second, we could just take a knee here? Hey,
Well, obviously they didn't know. Evidently, I mean, they did not. They must not have realized it. How, I don't know. But
how do they not know?
How to drink? Sit there on the sidelines thinking it was a timeout, and then we have to kick a 61-yard field goal. What the f? I mean, how does that happen?
He stopped himself.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm PC.
Wow. I mean, we'll take a quick poll here.
Oh.
Is that the stupidest thing you've ever seen a coach do in your lifetime? On
Yes.
that level, college, pro.
Gosh,
I say yes, but
I've seen some stupid things. That's pretty stupid.
I mean, the only other
I don't know,
stupid
Urban
thing-
Meyer in the bar. That's pretty stupid.
okay,
too.
wait. I'm talking about in a game. That's an off the field.
know,
You're an idiot.
I know.
Woody Hayes. That may be the dumbest thing.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
punch of the Clemson dude.
I'm not that
Drafted-
old.
On the
Drafting Zach Wilson.
Trey
talking
Lance.
college.
decision.
We're talking
Lance.
college.
Yeah, I
Coaching
know.
decision.
I mean,
Coaching
I don't-
decision.
I don't like to throw this out, but I'm actually a Charger fan, and Staley is the worst coach of all time. So I could probably find something with him because he's made way too many boneheaded.
How many times does his defense bailed him out, Rob? How many times has their defense bailed the Chargers out and Staley?
Oh, geez, it's not even funny. The going for it, the running the wrong plays. I mean, he's pretty bad. So I've seen some bad stuff.
Man, how do you end up a Chargers fan on the East Coast? I don't get that.
Yeah, I have a huge family, and like I have like 40, 50 cousins, and they all like different football teams. And I guess the Chargers probably, I'm the youngest. So I think that was the last one that nobody had. So I think I just, I was always a little bit of a rebel when I was a kid. Just, I didn't want to go with the norm of the Eagles.
Well, it's kind of like, being around here now that the Rams have left. By the way, ask Jason real quick what he thinks about Stan Kroenke. That way we can
God, you had to mention his name.
You know what? I don't care.
My
I'm
blood pressure. I just got back from the doctor, and when I lost some weight, and my blood pressure, I got to watch it, and you're just getting me. You're punching me in all the right spots, I guess.
You're welcome.
You're poking the bear right. Stan Kroenke,
It's not McVay this
Stan
time.
Kroenke, I wouldn't pee on him if he's on fire. I would no. I can't root for the NFL. It's hard for me to root for the NFL. It's hard for me to root for the Chiefs because that Jack had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah,
And
and that's the thing too. Everybody here now is like this, just Chiefs fan because of by proxy, or hey, it's in Missouri, so we gotta find a football team now, or because Taylor freaking Swift is whatever Travis Kelce crap. So everybody here is now a Chiefs fan.
I hate Stan. I hate Dallas. I hate
Dallas too.
How awesome was San Francisco just ramrod?
That was beautiful.
They have to be the best team in NFL right now, right?
Yeah.
San Francisco, Miami's good, but man, I don't.
Lost to the Bills. Yes, the defense.
Yes.
Oh, there is that. Yeah.
Most complete team is 49ers.
Hey,
Yeah.
I agree.
everybody who said that Brock Purdy sucked, and I was
32 teams. How many times? How many rounds?
When your last pick in the draft, that's what happens. But I'm saying, even last year was he's a fluke. It's whatever. Brock Purdy is not too bad, fellas. Just throwing it out there.
Now, is
He
that
hasn't
Brock?
thrown an interception.
Is it Brock Purdy or is it the
Brock
system,
Purdy's
right,
good.
Kevin?
Part of this is the system.
Well, you know what? If you have a guy who can do this, let's put him in a situation where he can be successful. Let's not try to put the square peg in the round hole.
Hey, Jimmy G wasn't that successful. Trey Lance wasn't that successful. So I don't know.
I was watching this morning because I can watch it from my home office here while you guys are at school. I was watching Good Morning Football.
I respect you, Jim.
Thank you. And they had Jay Glazer on. And I think Jay Glazer's terrific. And they were talking about this same exact thing about how, Purdy has picked up Kyle Shanahan's terminology, offense, how he wants to do things so incredibly quickly. And Glazer said, Kyle Shanahan is crazy. He is a nut job certified. And for Purdy to be able to pick up what Trey Lance wasn't able to pick up, what Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't able to pick up, that speaks volumes for just not only the talent on the field, but how mentally smart Purdy is in that system.
Here's why. Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead.
Well, the last few years, the way the drafts have gone, you've got one top guy who generally pans out a little bit. But guys, sometimes 3 through 6 are drafted probably 3 to 4 rounds ahead of where they should be. Does this change with Purdy and the way some other guys are, how teams will look at drafting quarterbacks with the absolute failures of Zach Wilson and Trey Lance and
Dude,
some of those other guys?
And Zach Wilson in a minute, but go ahead.
No,
I'm going to say this: Trey Lance, number one, should have never been drafted as high as he was, and this is me that saw him play in the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
Because Jim called the games, right? You called the games, right?
I still do the 2-minute drill for the Valley, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he only played one game
That was another big
because
drum.
of COVID leading up to that draft. How you take him, you're basing it on a season that was COVID shortened to the year previous. How can you draft him as high as you did?
That's
you
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to draft those guys 2 or 3 in the first round. They're going to wait and draft some. Is he that bad of a pick if he's drafted in the 4th or the 5th round?
No,
Zach, go ahead.
Okay, so the thing about Purdy is you look at again Iowa. You talk about Kurt Warner. You got guys that they're not the number 1, number 2, number 3 overall draft pick. They have to work a million times harder, not only physically but mentally, and so they have to find something to set them apart. And if it's not their arm strength, and if it's not their legs, then it has to be their mind. And I think that's what Purdy's done. I think you can go back and you could probably, again, look at Kurt Warner. You can go look at any Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady is who I was going to say.
It's right here. I mean, Manning didn't have necessarily the best arm strength over his career, but you have it between the ears, and they're willing to put in the time and the work that other people are not. Now, to go back to the draft, they're always going to draft simply based on the fact of if you don't draft and they do hit, then you're gone. You're fired because you had the opportunity to pick so-and-so and you let him go by. You're canned as a GM. Okay. So you're always going to pick talent because you're going to sit here and say, I can develop it. And the upside, the Kyler Murray upside is to take a chance on him. The Trey Lance upside. Well, we can coach him up. It's just like college basketball. We can go get this guy. We can go get this 3-star guy that a volume scorer, and we can teach him how to play defense. That's the coach's philosophy. We can teach what we want to teach.
Do you think, just look at top 10 quarterback picks, do more guys hit or more guys miss?
Miss.
How do you define by law of averages, and you're looking at these analytics of things, why do they still draft fringe guys early, knowing that they're probably 70% more likely to miss than hit?
Rob, most important. Go ahead, Rob.
Rob, I'm going to hear you on this one.
I mean, when you look back at the last couple of years, though, the first round picks, most of them are playing right now in the NFL. I mean, you got Tua, you got Herbert, you got, a lot of these guys that were picked first round are still playing. So I wouldn't say that there's a whole lot of misses. There's more misses, I think, as you get later on in the draft. But I think your first round picks have been pretty much playing, unless I'm missing.
Well, I look
at the Giants right now. How much longer are they going to fall on their sword?
I look at guys like Daniel Jones, where he was drafted, he's not performing up to where he was drafted. I'm looking at guys, even if you go back as first, Blaine Gabbert. He was drafted early, and he's a clipboard carrier for the better part of his career.
Right.
Is that worth the money to do that?
For every one of those guys, there's 3 or 4 in that draft that have hit.
And it depends on the talent. Nobody wants to be the general manager who passed on Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And there was, what was he, 13th or something draft overall, mid-round, something like that. I mean, he was the middle of the first round. So there was a bunch of teams. Now everybody falls in love with the big arm and in the skill set, the guys who can throw it and they can run a little bit, and that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, do they do what it takes to make their team better? Can they win those games? Those one read kind of guys who make the throws, they suck in the NFL. It's been proven time and time again. The Tim Couch kind of guys, they're gone. They suck. Goodbye. The Trey Lance, to me, is a one read kind of dude and he's gone. Zach Wilson the same way. Whatever. Those guys suck. The guys who are more, and Zach alluded to it, the guys who have enough tools to make the plays, but they have the intelligence to diagnose defenses, because in the NFL, defenses are very good schematically. They are good. They disguise very well. And then you have the athleticism that you don't have in college. So you're not playing against some of these, 3-star, 1 or 2 3-star dudes, the Citadel's football team, because, you're playing at, no. You're playing against guys who can get to you before you have a chance to even take a breath. So you have to be mentally ready to play. That's where Brock Purdy, that's where Tom Brady, that's where those guys who don't. Peyton Manning, to me,
McNair
is not the most. They're not the most, skill wise, but Peyton Manning is the smartest football player I've ever heard talk. Okay, he is extremely intelligent. Tom Brady had to be. He was a 6th-round draft pick. How do these guys stick around? They had to work hard. Zach even said that. I'm agreeing with Zach today. Gosh.
I know this is scary. Well, what about Steve McNair coming from Appy State? When Appy State, at that time, it was Division I AA. Look at
Alcorn State.
Alcorn State.
Alcorn State.
I'm sorry, but still, look at the career that he had.
Yeah, but he had the tools and he had the brains. Obviously, he didn't make good life decisions, but rest in peace. I do think that those guys they're going to keep drafting him because the pro days, the big arms, the whatever. But
it's
man,
the most important position, arguably, in sports. So that's why they're going to continue. Because
that's why they're going to continue to draft him high.
Franchise, because you take a flyer on a dude that's going to be your franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. That's why you're going to.
Or you can be like the Giants. Look at the Giants right now, and God, they just keep. Okay, so now they're going to go back to the drawing board at quarterback again. I mean, since Eli's been gone, it's been a mess. So
Rob, jump in on this one. You're from the East Coast.
Well, I gotta tell you, when you look at the Giants, their offensive line is horrible. I mean, that's like Swiss cheese beyond Swiss cheese. There's so many holes in there.
Well, same as New York Jets. That's why they all keep ripping Zach Wilson. But my God, if Crazy Man would have been there, he would have got sacked too.
I played high school football. I was actually a quarterback, and I had the worst line in the division. And all I did every single time that I took a snap, I was just hoping I didn't get hit, because I knew I was going to get hit almost every time. And I think that's how Daniel Jones is right now. Is he's just hoping to stay upright. Okay. And I mean, it's hard to judge somebody like him. I mean, another guy is Mac Jones. I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on Mac Jones? Is he a
his knock coming out of Alabama is he had no arm strength to begin with anyway, and it's evident now. You still have to be able to make throws in the NFL, and physically he's not able to make throws like other quarterbacks are.
Well, hey guys, we'll go ahead and jump into this because we're over on our segment time here. But I think this is something we can definitely continue on, because talk about, I mean, just there's so much here to unpack as far as the NFL quarterbacks and how coaches evaluate talent. I mean, we know as coaches and people around sports that evaluating talent is kind of a big deal. So we'll, I know, right? Tongue-in-cheek jokes all day long. We'll be right back after our quick commercial break. You're watching the Coach's Box, maybe.
Play announcer who's in your ear all game long. And the more praise I heap on your team, the more excited you get. Touchdown! Now, you don't hear the upstairs toilet overflowing, and I don't mean with confidence. You wanted a bowl season? You got a bowl season. And if I can show up on game day, imagine what could happen the rest of the week. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Imagine an HVAC as unnoticeable as the air itself. Sounds pretty good, huh? The new Daikin Fit. Air intelligence.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
guys, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks, personally inviting you and your family to come check us out. We've taken over ownership back in September. We've made some great positive changes, got the same legacy wings, got some amazing pizzas, some awesome burgers, hamburgers provided by Kenrick's. We'd love to have you down. Come check us out. The beer's cold, the air conditioning's working, and we're looking forward to seeing you all. Take care.
For 24 years, really enjoyed being a basketball coach. When I retired from coaching, I decided that I wanted to get back into the media world. I look at it from more of a coach's point of view. I love to showcase guests. I love to tell their stories, not just locally, regionally, but nationally as well. Joe Namath, Kurt Warner, Patrick Ewing, Katie Smith. Not just talk about their accolades, but what they have given back to the game, what they've given back as leaders in their community. And I want people to be able to listen to my show and to be able to take that into their lives. They're going to be able to live their life like a champion. That's a show right there that I feel like is worth listening to.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Coach's Box. It's already crazy. We got a full house. If you haven't been on the show right now, guess what? You get to see a bunch of us, and we have a chat going here. You guys just need to chill out. Good God.
Sorry, I started it.
Yeah, you did.
You start everything.
Let's bash Jim. That's what it's all about.
No, Zach. I'm going to defend Jason for a second.
Thank you.
You're the one who asks questions that turn into arguments. Remember that. Okay?
All he ever does. This is
I ask questions.
That is what I do. I stir the. Actually, I try to get McVay and Jarvis to fight each other. I didn't expect everybody to get mad at me.
Well, it don't take much.
Since when? This is supposed to be Jarvis and Miller going at each other. I feel like Miller's just there now. He's just pushing.
Wow,
he doesn't ever.
Did you just call me Gersh? That's what you just called me.
That's
Gersh.
I don't know.
No, I'm the guy over there in the corner doing a crossword puzzle while Moseloc's sitting there ruining the team. Okay.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe former Purdue. No.
He went there.
Jason.
I really respect.
He just took up for me, and I just bam.
You know what? You suck, Jason. All right.
Right back at you, Jarvis.
Yeah, this is why we can't have guests on the show. They're like, "What's why we can't have
I fully deserved that." So.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Sorry, Chris.
So Rob, I mean, you've had one
Yeah.
segment here on our show, and you made it back for the second. So there's big congratulations for that, because not mmany people get to do that. They're like, hey guys, I got to go do something underwater basket weaving out of here, and you made it, second segment. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh man,
gosh, you guys are just, man, we can't. This is why we can't have nice things. So we were talking a little bit about the NFL and talent evaluation, and Kevin brought up a good question about, will we see the difference in drafting some of these guys who seem like they have all the tools? I mean, I keep going back to this. I just don't think that's the case. I think we're still going to have those guys. They fall in love with the combine and the tools, but they might have $1 million buy and a 10-cent head. So let's, we'll go ahead and, jump right back into this. What's our thoughts on that again?
Well, I want to know here from Rob, since he's on the East Coast and you've got all these, he's by all these teams. And I mean, tell us kind of what's the East Coast situation? What do they think about, the NFL and again, all the different, I mean, there's a ton of different QBs, good, bad, in between. What's life like there on the East Coast?
Well, right now, everything centers around Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's what everybody looks at. I mean, that's kind of the quarterback that I think most people want to try to draft. I knew from the beginning that when they drafted him, I thought they had a purpose for him, not just to be a backup to Wentz. And that's eventually what happened. Wentz kind of played himself out of the league. But Hurts is really the guy in this area. All the sports talk that we talk about, because really, the Giants are not really, they are what they are. Jets as well. Jets had a chance for about 3 plays.
The summer?
The summer.
4 plays. He made it 4. Okay.
I mean, Hard Knocks is entertaining.
Yes.
It was.
That was the best thing the Jets had this year was Hard Knocks.
That's the best thing that their quarterback did too.
First 4 plays of the year. That was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Yeah.
But most teams are looking at Hurts though as now like the quote unquote prototype of a quarterback.
Well, yeah, if you look at what teams are wanting to draft, that's what they want. They want a guy that can run. They want a guy that can throw on the move, get outside the pocket, and make things happen. And Mizzou found that out. So, I mean, that guy might get drafted. Who knows?
Oh, he'd talk about Heisman. But here's the thing that I love about Hurts. Being a Bama, he's a Bama guy. I know he went to OU, and that's where he got drafted from. He's a winner. He's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's again, if I'm the evaluator, if I'm going to have a draft pick and my livelihood's wrapped around it, I'm going to draft a guy that has won.
Well, it's
period.
The questions are going to continue to come up because take the last year's draft and quarterback class. The jury's still out on Young and Stroud and those types of guys because we still don't know what they've got. The teams around them aren't very good. But the one that always gets me is Indianapolis goes and gets Anthony Richardson because he has the tools. He's got the arm. He's got the legs. He's got the highlight plays from Florida. Wasn't a winner at Florida necessarily in the same breath. We don't know what he's got. Now he's on IR for at least the next 4 weeks and won't be playing. That's one of those picks where I'm like, if you look at the analytics, I don't think you go that route because it just doesn't fit. You probably, if you look at just skill level, yes, the ceiling is there. I understand that. But most likely you're not going to get the ceiling out of him when you look at the numbers of what other people have drafted. Jalen Hurts is a guy that was a winner, and he was heady. He's someone that has overperformed his draft slot, and you almost knew he was going to overperform his draft slot.
He also ended up in a good situation being a guy who was a second-round pick. So, and it was funny you I'm glad you said that, Rob, because when I was driving the 8th grade day on the shuttle, I was actually listening to our podcast. By the way, you can listen to it on Apple and Spotify. Good, shout out here.
It's all free.
It's all free, by the way. Free,
and it's great value.
Great freaking value. So I was listening to our show last week, and I made the mistake of dropping the worst example of a good player playing in a bad situation with Joe Thomas. Talk about guys who were winners, though. A guy like Matt Leinart won a lot in college, and he ended up in a really terrible situation. I mean, Kurt Warner obviously took, he's a Hall of Famer, but there's guys like that who end up in bad situations. I mean, hell, Steve Young played for the Buccaneers, and he wasn't any good there until he came to the 49ers, sat a couple years behind Montana, and then he took over, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. So there are guys who end up in bad situations who have all the tools necessary to win, and it happens a lot in the NFL, and I think that's one of the things that we're seeing. I mean, I use the Geno Smith. Geno Smith comes back around, and I mean, he's been recycled now. I don't know how long.
Is Lamar Jackson the player he is if he's drafted 1, 2, or 3 to one of those teams.
No, because what is he now? I mean, he's
runner.
not doing anything now. I go back to this. You look at Lawrence in Jacksonville. He's the number 1 pick. He goes through his year of struggling, but because he's a winner, because he was a winner in high school, because he was a winner at Clemson, he knows what to do. He helps turn around that franchise. What, year 2 they go to the playoffs? Rob, go ahead.
The thing with that is Doug Peterson. Doug
Uh-huh.
Peterson,
He's the X
agree.
factor.
great coach when it comes to quarterbacks.
Being
And
in a good situation.
that match, the two of them together, I think changed Lawrence's career completely from that first year.
It's amazing that after Doug Peterson wins the Super Bowl, the Eagles run him out of town. Doug Peterson wins the first championship in 50 years in Philadelphia for the football team. And then Bill Belichick hasn't won since Tom Brady was there. And
He's even been in the playoffs.
1 year.
He had a winning season.
1 year.
Once.
That's what happens when you can't cheat anymore. And
Here we go.
then maybe you can't win. Hey, maybe you sat there and rolled Tom Brady coattails your entire career.
It's a symbiotic relationship between the coach and the quarterback. You drafted a guy, you found a guy like Purdy who can play in your system. You just keep going on about it. He won 6 Super Bowls. Just chill it.
Cheater.
Can I go down a road now? I'm going to take this back to the college ranks. I'm going to take it to the top 3 quarterbacks this year. And they're from a conference that is not going to be around next year. When you look at Caleb Williams, when you look at Penix Jr. at Washington, and you look at Bo Nix up at Oregon, look at who their head coaches are. Offensive minds that teach the quarterbacks the right way. Penix Jr., when he played for Indiana, he was okay. You put him in that Washington system, he's lights out right now. You look at Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley. What have we seen with Lincoln Riley and what he's done with quarterbacks? And then you look at Bo Nix. Auburn hated him. They ran him out of town, and he ends up in a terrific system up in Oregon. Those 3 is a byproduct of what good coaching will do to make you better.
Now, here's the projected top 3 NFL. If you just take those 3 quarterbacks, the top 3 picks in this coming, if you go by today's record, the first pick should be Carolina's, but they traded it to Chicago. Chicago has the first and second pick. And then it's Denver and Minnesota. Chicago, are they taking one of those quarterbacks with one of those first 2 picks and running Justin Fields out of town?
It depends if they fire Eberflus after next week when they lose this Sunday and they lose next Thursday because they've got the long win.
Please, somebody.
If Fields' prayers get answered, he's going to get ran out of town and go somewhere else.
Is Denver taking a quarterback?
Yes.
For that disaster there.
Hey, we got to talk about that later too.
And Minnesota might take one.
I think Fields would be great in Denver, but
because and then Minnesota because Kirk Cousins apparently might be leaving town as well.
I'm going back to what I said last week. I said last week if Minnesota is smart, they trade Kirk Cousins because they're not going to win this year. Get some value from him.
Great value.
Get a couple trade picks. Great value. Thank you.
Now
get some picks. Or trade for somebody that is going to help you. But I don't think Kirk, and once again, we talked about it. Quarterback, Kirk Cousins turned a lot of people into believers of him. I think he goes someplace and is going to turn someplace around because he's that good of a quarterback. Just not in Minnesota right now.
Well, here's what so let's stay on the topic that we had when we talk about situations for these quarterbacks to go into. Is Chicago a good situation for another young quarterback to go into? No, it's not.
So if Williams is a top pick, Kevin, Williams' dad is already. How about his dad just laying the gauntlet down and saying, "Yeah, we're going to dictate," because it's true. He'll make more money at NIL at USC his senior year than he would dealing with Chicago and just ending up on his back 25 times a game.
So let's see of the good team. What good teams need a quarterback at the moment? Tampa Bay, maybe.
Hey,
what are you talking about? Baker Mayfield's been awesome.
But I'm just.
You think Brian Leftwich has already reached out to Pittsburgh to ask to come back and be on their offensive staff? There's something going on crazy down at Tampa right now.
But does one of those teams trade up into one of those two spots in order to get someone like Caleb Williams who wants to go to a better situation?
Rob, I want to hear your take on this.
Well, I was going to say, what about the Patriots? Would they try to trade up and get one of those quarterbacks?
Would Caleb Williams want to play for Bill Belichick?
Right now, I don't know a lot of quarterbacks who would want to play for Bill Belichick.
Play for him.
But I don't know. I don't know if Mac Jones is I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the mental aptitude to play in the game. I don't know.
Hold on. Mac Jones hasn't given up 70 some odd points in 2 weeks. That's the Patriots defense.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I mean,
that defense has gone away since Mike Vrabel stopped being on their defensive staff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you take a guy who is the defensive coordinator, you make him the offensive coordinator, he come back. Or how was that with Patricia? How did they do that? What does he do now up there once he left the Lions? Like he's flip flop between offense and defense in New England. I mean, it's a tough thing. I think Bill's on his way out. But no, I don't think anybody wants to go and play for the damn Chicago Bears.
And you brought up the Lions. Look at the quarterback up there that people wrote off.
Recycled.
And they wrote him off, and look at him, and look at the season there.
Well, once again, I go back to Dan. Any of us, wouldn't you want to play for Dan Campbell? Because
yes,
I would run through a flipping wall for that dude. The way he coaches them up.
Yeah,
but I thought that of the New York Jets coach too. I like him. So, but yes, the dude at Detroit's awesome. I big fan.
So I have a question for Rob. Rob, East Coast. How was Hard Knocks? I know we all watched it, and we, there were some really cool things there. But people up there, how did people react to how the Jets were portrayed during Hard Knocks?
Well, it's funny. New Jersey, you have to be really upstate New Jersey to be a Jet fan. There's really not a lot of Jet fans in New Jersey, to be honest with you. Especially down, I'm South Jersey, so there's definitely no Jets fans down here. But, they were resting their whole season on Aaron Rodgers, and they were getting totally pumped up, thinking that, last year they had a great defense. They thought, okay, well, if we can improve on our offensive side, then we would have a potential playoff run. I think they put so much on that offense and on Aaron Rodgers because there are some weapons on that team. Bryce Hall is a great football player. So there's bright spots on that team, and I definitely think they were pumped with having Aaron Rodgers. But obviously, 4 plays into the season completely changed everything for a Jet fan. You don't really see any Jet fans around here at this point in time.
They all went back inside. I mean, they're like, "Hey, it's over."
They were all chanting
It's that Dr. Pepper commercial that they just rolled out. First play of the game, everybody's going nuts. You got Bosworth saying, "That was the first play of the game." Well, for the Jets fans, it was the 4th play of the game.
Let's just say I got tickets to a Charger game because they're playing the Chargers on the 4th Monday night. And I got first section, maybe 12 rows up from the field, and it was less than $100.
Wow!
In New York.
Wow!
In New York.
Yeah.
I will say
that's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah. Since you brought up Hard Knocks, I will say I thought Aaron Rodgers was like this big flake. I was not a fan at all. And then I watched Hard Knocks this year, and I went, dude, he's kind of clever. He has a sense of humor that I kind of like. And I was like, and dude, the crap with Pfizer and Kelsey
is
so
priceless.
Good and so funny. And I'll have to give it to him, man. Rodgers is good. I never thought I'd like the dude. And then I watched Hard Knocks. I'm like, okay.
It's the California cool. I mean, this is what it is.
I know, but there was just, dude, the zip on his ball, if you listen in Hard Knocks when he would throw, if you listen real close to the show, and maybe it's just weird because I'm a football guy, but you could hear the zip out of his hand. There was just so many things that he did in that show that I was just like, okay, man, he's cool. I can hang out with Rodgers, and I mean, I'd rather hang out with Gronk or Kelsey, but I mean,
if I was 15 years younger, I'd definitely want to hang out with those guys. Right now, it's like, yeah, I'm done at 9:30, guys. I'm out. I'm out.
Kelsey's 34, bro. I mean, you know.
I'm just saying. But let's think about that, Jason. You're talking about the zip on Rodgers passes now, and he's 40 years old.
I know.
Think about it whenever he was in his absolute prime of his life. And I mean, just those guys are on another level. And you know, the thing is too, is once you get to know some of these dudes, I'm sure they're more down to earth. They're not just a bunch of uppity, whatever, I'm the coolest guy ever kind of thing.
Here's another team that's going to be
looking for a quarterback. I thought you were going to say, hey, look at me.
I thought there was something good.
Down to earth too.
But look at the Packers. Hey, Jordan Love is not the answer for the Packers.
Oh, God, no. He's
sure? That pass he threw at the end of the game the other night, oh, my gosh. You got to do something better than that. I think there's somebody else that may look to trade up to get a quarterback because I don't think Jordan Love is going to survive up in Green Bay.
I think Cousins would be a good fit there.
Those Minnesota fans would go nuts.
I know, it'd be awesome.
It would be terrific.
It'd be awesome.
So here's a question though. I mean, we talk about these guys who obviously Jordan Love, Zach Wilson, just these guys who were drafted high and they're not panning out. But then you take some of these guys who've had to sit. Are they rushing some of these guys in too soon instead of being the clipboard holders? Carson Palmer sat for a year. Hell, even Patrick Mahomes was not the starter from day one as a first-round draft pick.
But when you go to a crappy franchise that is starved for a quarterback, they're going to have to play soon.
The Giants drafted Eli Manning. Well, it traded for him after the chart. He said, I ain't going to play for your Chargers. Sorry about that, Rob. I had to bring that up. But he goes and he plays. He has to sit behind Warner for a few games. I mean, guys have to learn before they're thrown out there. I think not everybody, but there's some of these guys. What if you get the guys who have the retread like the Geno Smith? I mean, hell, Steve Young. It wasn't his first or second job that made him a Hall of Famer. It was his third team, USFL, the Buccaneers, and now he goes and plays for the Niners. Some of these guys have to sit and learn because they're not ready yet. Well, are we giving up on guys too soon?
Jordan Love has sat and learned for a while and hasn't learned much of anything on that one. But part of what that is obviously all these guys that make it to the NFL in this draft, they have a skill set of some nature.
Yeah.
I think they're being put into systems that do not fit that skill set. They are trying to shove a square peg in a round hole.
There we go.
And they are not putting Jordan Love, the Packers aren't, in a place for them to succeed.
So
the Jets are doing the same thing with Zach Wilson, all those guys. They're not putting them in a proper place to succeed as their skill set.
No offensive line.
That's part of. I mean, there's all those factors that play into it, but a lot of it can come back to is the scheme fitting the quarterback in which that position is.
Now here's the debate though. Here's the chicken or the egg. Is it the offensive scheme or is it they have to run that offense because that's what the other team's defense is forcing them to run? So I get it. Chris talks about, these college QBs, they're a one read, they're a one trick pony or a one read pony. They can't go second, third progression. Okay, then. So should it not be the NFL's job then to adapt or die and say, if this is what we're going to get, if this is what we're going to get from college, because that's what they turned the game into, don't we need to go ahead and turn around and adapt ourselves? We went from run heavy in the NFL to now we're pass heavy. I mean, why don't, again, adapt or die?
Because I don't think you have to do that. I think you can still find a guy who's a 5th, 6th round pick, sometimes second. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a good example. He wasn't a first round guy who can turn into a star player, or a Brock Purdy who I can lead this team and be very capable of being an NFL quarterback. I don't have to change the game. We have to because you can't do the same stuff. The defenses in the NFL are not going to allow that one read crap to the college coaches. You ain't going to have 3 guys where they're holding up stupid cards with pictures on them and at work in the NFL. It's just not happening. Those guys are way too smart. They're too smart. They're going to take that one read away and you're done.
Too smart and more athletic.
There you go. And then Kevin took the second one.
Thank you, Kevin.
Athletic. There you go. 200 wins, 202 now.
201.
Right there.
Okay.
No. Well, you did to Zach last week because
Yeah, I had to
2-1.
win over
And
Zach
then
last
this one,
week. Yeah,
202.
So hold on. Let me ask you this then. Then if you are a pro team, if you're an owner or GM, do you completely go, I'm going to sell out for one side of the ball. I'm going to be an absolute stud on O and I'm just making a number up. I'm going to try and score 50 a night. Or do I say I'm going to be a stud defense? All my money's going to one side of the ball.
You can't do that in the NFL right now.
It won a Super Bowl for the Ravens.
You're not in this day and age, though.
Why not?
Different group of guys.
Different group of dudes. I agree with Chris. Yes, that just happened. I agreed with Chris.
Wow, that is crazy. Rob, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think Zach's crazy? Go ahead and you can say yes.
I just know from past experience with the Chargers back in the 80s, they had probably one of the most incredible offenses around and had no defense. I mean, the only way that they won games was 50 points to 45 points. So selling out, I don't know if that's really going to work. It didn't work back then. That's a tough thing to do.
Dan Fouts was awesome on video games.
Yeah.
Dan Fouts is awesome, and with the beard anyway. I mean, the dude is awesome looking. There aren't guys like that walking around playing.
It didn't hold anything back.
Hey, look, Jarvis's brother chiming in. Zach is crazy.
Hey, I agree.
Again, I try and ask questions just to
make arguments out of them. I mean, it's your rule.
Going back though, I just want to going back to whether or not a quarterback should play that first year or hold the clipboard or whatever. If you look at like the Panthers with Stroud, the only reason why he is playing is because of money. Like they want to try to sell tickets for people to come to that stadium. And that is bringing excitement to that franchise and to that team. I think that's the only reason why you would play a young quarterback like that, is to try to promote the team and try to sell tickets. So I think it comes down to money more than whether or not he's ready or not.
Well, I don't think Stroud's done a bad job.
No, he's not.
I'll just be honest. I don't think he's done a bad
No,
job.
all those quarterbacks you guys mentioned, if you've watched, have done some good things and bad. But I mean, they've made some highlight plays, and Rob brings up a great point. I mean, money makes the world go round, and that's usually what it. I mean, not to bring up a sore subject, but look at the Cardinals. Money is always going to be.
You had to go there.
Respect.
I had to. I had to.
Segment.
I mean,
By the way, Houston won.
I just hate. I almost hate DeWitt and the ownership as much as I hate Kroenke.
Oh, that's saying a lot, man. That is really saying a lot.
Well, that's a great segue to our last segment.
Yeah, and with that, we will take a commercial break, and you are watching the Coach's Box. We'll be right back.
We're on a straight.
I'm a bunch of wind. And just like your stomach after that strip mall sushi, well, I'm a bit unpredictable. Let's redecorate. What's the matter, Tanya? I thought you loved being spontaneous. I do. And if you got the wrong home insurance coverage, I might break the bank too. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Imagine an HVAC as unnoticeable as the air itself. Sounds pretty good, huh? The new Daikin Fit. Air intelligence.
Give Home by SMCI a call today at 636-337-4444 or email them at service@homebysmci.com.
Hey guys, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks, personally inviting you and your family to come check us out. We've taken over ownership back in September. We've made some great positive changes, got the same legacy wings, got some amazing pizzas, some awesome burgers, hamburgers provided by Kenrick's. We'd love to have you down. Come check us out. The beer's cold, the air conditioning's working, and we're looking forward to seeing y'all. Take care.
For 24 years, really enjoyed being a basketball coach. When I retired from coaching, I decided that I wanted to get back into the media world, and I started doing play-by-play. I started doing color analyst work. I started guest hosting on some shows. However, my brain seemed to be a little bit different. I look at it from more of a coach's point of view. I love to showcase guests. I love to tell their story. To be able to share that with the listeners and see what they can take from it. I've been fortunate enough to showcase people not just locally and regionally, but nationally as well. Joe Namath, Kurt Warner, Patrick Ewing, Katie Smith, Valerie Contos-Field, Katie Sowers. Not just talk about their accolades, not just have a lot of statistics and what they accomplished, but what they have given back to the game, what they've given back as leaders in their community. And I want people to be able to listen to my show, and at the end of it, when they listen to the post-game talk, to be able to reflect on what our discussion was and to be able to take that into their lives. They're going to be able to still live their life like a champion. That's a show right there that I feel like is worth listening to.
Everybody, welcome back to our final segment of the Coach's Box. Don't forget, you can check out all of our episodes on Facebook and YouTube, and you can check them all out. Guys, how much does that cost to do that?
Free.
I think they're free.
They are free. They are definitely free. So you can check those out. You can go back and look at all of our episodes. We don't put anything behind a paywall. That includes all of our sports broadcasts, any of our shows, anything that we do. It's all free. It's all for you guys. And if you don't like looking at our ugly faces, you can always listen to us on Spotify and Apple. And those are, wait for it, how much?
Free.
There you go. It's all free. Free for
and
you guys.
Great value.
Great freaking value. That's for sure. So
everything is totally free on here.
That's right. And we can give free insults, free advice, free.
Hey, Ed Burrito likes free.
Everybody likes free.
Oh,
man.
I'm sure he does.
He also likes height jokes.
Man, look at that. He also likes spraying fart spray in my office. Freaking jerk. There will be payback. There will be blood. So Rob has now made it to segment 3, so he's made it farther than most. So congratulations again, Rob. We do hope you've enjoyed being on here, and apologize for our shenanigans in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, we are kind of not sorry.
No, we're not apologizing for that.
I mean, he's from the East Coast. He's got to make
I'm just wondering why we haven't had any Jersey Shore references yet. Like that's
fist pump, baby.
Rob, tell these guys to done.
He's like, no.
Oh, come on. You don't like Mike the Situation?
Oh, the Situation. Man. Oh, my God. Yes.
Dude.
It sounds like he could tell some stories about Jersey Shore.
I worked in a bar down at the Jersey Shore for 10 years.
Oh, man.
And actually ran into them a couple times. So,
Rob, I want to come to New Jersey. I want to go to the Jersey Shore, and I want to party with them.
All right. Well, I'm sure.
If we make that
Somebody-
if we can
can't
make that
find
happen, the coach's box is going.
If we can find them, if we can't find them, there's people just like them somewhere. We'll find them somewhere.
Jason just wants to meet Snooki.
Hand workout laundry done.
That's what I want to know. Is that what Jersey? That's what I imagine. All of Jersey, they've got the blowouts, they've got the tats. They're just at work the whole
They're
time.
all tanning. They're all tanning and go to the gym.
Well, you know, the funny part about that is that's all the New Yorkers that come down to the Jersey.
He blames it on the New Yorkers.
Nice.
There used to be the difference between the locals and, you know, the non-locals, and the non-locals used to take over in the summertime, and we just let them do their thing.
Well, that's kind of what we do a little bit with Jarvis when we have actual topics and stuff, and Jarvis comes in and we just he starts talking. We just let him do his thing. Like, we have his list. He doesn't read it. Don't worry.
Oh,
There's a reason, Rob.
No, you don't.
No,
you haven't looked at the list since like episode never.
Rob, there's a reason why this is called Off the Rails. I started it. I trademarked it because anytime we have,
we never hear it on Fox 2. We never hear Off the Rails on Fox 2.
We don't even hear.
No, that's not
Has
true.
there
I
ever
did
been
say
a
it last
reference
year.
to us?
I did say it last year during basketball season. I remember because I got challenged in a text message by you to say it.
Oh, that was the same text message. Like, say car ramrod.
Yes, exactly. It was the same one. I had to pick and choose the battle at that point.
I'm pretty sure I was drinking at that point.
Oh, we were all saying it at that point. Because Jim turned his phone off.
Drinking from my beer fridge in my office.
Now I have learned on Friday nights from 10:30 to 11, Do Not Disturb is on my phone, and I don't even have it on anymore. Hey, Matt Schutte, what is up?
Wow,
dude has been on assignment forever.
Man, we got to bring him back on. You know, he would be some good times, man.
Some
Reminisce
fun
about the good old days. So we're gonna jump right into speaking of failures, which is kind of the failures and poor stupid decisions. Is the topic of the show.
Decisions. Are we talking about Marmol?
Well, that's another.
Are we talking about Mosaic?
No, we can always do that.
Gersh?
But let's talk about some failures here. Clayton Kershaw, it might be done.
So
okay,
yeah,
it's so funny you bring this up. My cousin is from California, and my brother and him have been texting on our text group, and they're talking about how the Dodgers failed, blah blah blah. And I just want to rub it in. And Christian was watching earlier, so hopefully he is now. The Dodgers suck. But anyway, yes. Kershaw, I think, is done. I think the Cardinals ruined him.
That's interesting. It was the Cardinals.
The Cardinals hit him.
Well, yeah, but so is everybody else in the playoffs except during COVID. It was like the one shining moment, and then they win it. It was a one time where he didn't suck in the playoffs. I mean, am I wrong?
Mask on.
A mask on. Here we go.
Was it him?
It could have been someone else.
He'll be wearing a mask sometime during the basketball season. Mark it down.
Your ass. I am not going to. They can tell me to leave. We're not playing that game again. So anyway, I don't know how anybody else feels, and I really don't care.
This is what I was doing. I'm
Yeah,
being Zach right now.
That's great. So,
oh God, I just said I was Zach. Ugh.
You did.
You did.
So I mean, the Dodgers, if they make it, what is it? They play later on tonight, right?
They're already losing.
They're playing right now, and they're losing.
They're already losing
4-0.
Ooh, wow. They're not even going to worry about Game 4. They're not going to worry about
already
Game 4.
moved on.
What do you do if you're the Dodgers with Kershaw? I mean, moving forward. I mean, really.
60-day DL with some sort of like eyelid pull, so he's nowhere near the roster anymore. He can't breathe through his eyelids. They're clogged.
How about a Fisher?
What?
I saw a dude on the a fissure. I saw a dude
That's,
on
hey, that was last week's
Fissure.
episode.
Fisher.
Jarvis.
Fisher.
That
I
was,
think you said-
that was last week's episode.
I thought you
Jarvis.
said Fisher, like a.
Fisher
What
of
the
men.
hell are you talking about? So you are stirring. You didn't stir enough. Rob. Rob, what? I mean, okay, I'll let you because you're the guest. I mean, does this derail what we really think? I mean, we all know that Kershaw has really struggled in the playoffs, but I mean, does it really tarnish it? I mean, he's probably gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Let's be real here. I mean, but what do we? I mean, what's your thoughts on Kershaw?
But I mean, I guess it would have to be regular season stats are what gets him into the Hall, because I mean, at some point in time, you got to take into consideration what he did in the postseason. You got to look at that when you're judging his overall career, and what he's done in the postseason from year to year is underperformed. And, you know, he's gotten lucky because he had some other pitchers there with him that were able to win games. They had a stacked offense the 1 year. I mean, you know, they've spent a lot of money in LA, but for him personally, you have to look at the postseason and put that in when you're judging the Hall of Fame consideration, I would think.
Why would you get rid of him? He was 13-5 with an ERA of 2.46.
Well,
why would you get rid of him?
Then I let him pitch in the regular season, and then he's on the shelf for the playoffs.
Great.
Well,
yeah, but
I mean, go ahead, Rob.
You can't. I don't know if you would be able to do that. I mean, realistically, because you know, what message would that say to the team, the rest of the team, if you're not, you know, putting him out there with 13 wins? I don't know. I mean,
it means your track record in the postseason sucks, but you can pitch in the regular season. That means we're trying to get a ring, baby. We're trying to get a ring. We're going to do the best thing possible. We'll
Move
put
him
you
to
in
the pen and never use him.
Yeah, I mean, would you keep him off the roster as a whole?
No. Hey, I like Kevin's
idea. Do you
idea.
want a ring? Do you want to win?
Hold on. You know what you do? What did the Braves do with John Schmaltz? Put him in the bullpen. They put him in the bullpen. Put Kershaw. If you have to go to a fourth starter, you put him as the fourth starter. If not, he's coming out of the bullpen, and he can at least get you 3 outs in an inning.
Maybe.
Yep. And he can be that guy where if your starter falters, he can go 3 or 4.
Exactly. Yep. Because they need that right now.
Hey, I tell you what, Dodgers, Dodgers, get rid of him. Cardinals, we'll take him. We'll take him.
We'll take anybody
hold
right
on,
now,
hold on,
Zach.
hold on.
Let's get
hold
that
on, hold on.
correct.
You don't have
Rob's
three pitchers
Rob's
you add
got a
together
thought
that
on
has
that.
13 wins.
Well, I will say this.
I'll take Nola before I'll take Crenshaw.
I would take Kershaw depending on what they paid for him.
Kershaw.
You mean
You don't
depending
have
on how
three
much the
pitchers
Dodgers
that have
pay him.
13 wins
Or how
put together.
many years he wants on that contract. That would be my thing.
3.
Hey, my brother brings up a good point. The Dodgers are so desperate. Lance Lynn started tonight.
Well, they don't have anybody else. I mean, they've got 100 wins, and they pretty much have like 1.5 pitchers.
Oh, and by the way, the Diamondbacks 4 runs on 4 home runs.
No way.
That's nice.
Wow.
The Dodgers pitching staff is getting raked in this series.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rob.
And the way that the playoffs are situated with, you know, the 3-game series for the wild card and then the 5-game series for the divisional, pitching really is the key to get you to the championship series. I mean, a good 1-2 pitching staff can really do damage and get you into that, you know, championship series. You don't really need to have that much depth pitching if you have those 2 first starters, because it's a 3-game series and a 5-game series.
That kind of opens up the whole playoffs, these number 1 seeds sitting all this time, not performing very well. Is this the right way to go about this?
I've heard so many pundits talk about this on so many different levels. Everybody has a different take. They say that if you're the top team in baseball, then you got to perform, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. But what I will say is this: you play an entire season that goes from April till October, and you never have 5 days off as a team.
Ever.
You cannot do that to your top seeds. I don't care. I get it. You can do all these fancy things. You can say no home games for a wild card. You can say you're down 1-0 as a wild card. I don't care how you do it. You can't have 5 days off. That's the only thing I'm telling you. They cannot do that to a team because you have no. How do you prepare for that? You don't.
I hate the rationale that
Go
Major
ahead.
League Baseball has. That they have to tell each city, blah, 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 you're hosting these days. That's what they do. It's not like football or it's not like basketball or hockey. Whereas as soon as both series start or are finished, the next series moves on. Well, you're not waiting days. Baseball has it in their minds that they have to let these cities know so that you can get hotel rooms, so that they can do this, and that is ridiculous.
There's not a whole lot going
I agree
on.
with Miller. This is twice tonight. I agree with Miller.
There's not a whole lot going on a lot of these cities at the time of the baseball playoffs. Be real.
Yeah.
Right.
There's hotels. There's places to stay.
And you're not
You ain't
playing
gotta
in
do
football.
that, bull.
You're not playing baseball in football stadiums like they had to do back in the day.
Bro, I can
Everybody's got
I can
their
find you a Super 8 to stay at. Okay, if you need a hotel room, you can get on Priceline. You can get you one. Don't act like you just want the Ritz-Carlton. Okay, I agree with Jason.
You could be
find
like the
places.
baseball team that had to stay in a dorm last year in the NCAA tournament. Remember that?
Hey, you could be like me and decide to go to a Mizzou game last minute and rent some college apartment room. Yeah.
Otherwise known as Dylan.
Jarvis.
No, I
Go back to college
Airbnb
days.
when I went up to the college game in Columbia. I Airbnb'd a freaking room in an apartment. It was the weirdest thing ever, but it worked out.
Jarvis, we're going streaking.
I thought Dylan was going to charge you like $100 for beer
I
money.
wasn't gonna sleep on his futon. Screw that. No.
No, you should have kicked him out on the futon and you sleep on the bed.
Well, the bed's kind of high in the dorm. I'm
Oh
not going
yeah,
up
yeah.
there.
You don't want to do that. You get hurt.
Yeah, don't
My
worry
ass
about
would-
his fissure.
my ass would roll
Yeah, don't
off.
worry about his fissure.
Plus, it was post-colonoscopy, so we really couldn't do it
Hey,
at that point.
shut the. You know what? This is coming from Gimpy guy that can't even walk, and he's gonna make fun of my colon.
All right, so
Back to
topic
accounts.
here.
All right, let's go back to once again off the rails. Okay,
So
Kevin, go ahead.
what's the fix for baseball in this?
I don't know.
How-
but
how
this
do
is-
How do we bring back the advantage for the number one seed for being
Let-
the number one seed?
Let Mosaic figure it out.
Oh God!
Just stop.
Get
Like
rid
he's
of the
figured out our
three-game
pitching
wild
staff.
card.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this: make that wild card one, make the wild card play in the city of that next opponent, and then make the first day a doubleheader, and then they play the next day,
a
and then they have to play that next
doubleheader.
day.
Wow.
I think you go one game in that wild card. Them going to this best of three garbage is stupid. Go one game, and then you're ready to go a day later. Just
you
when
don't-
they first rolled out the wild card,
You-
that's the way it was.
you don't
'Cause I
like it?
remember.
Don't be the wild card.
Hey, let's quit being. Let's quit being a weak society and letting everybody make the playoffs. And let's go back to how it always has been. And screw all this wild card bull. It's all about money. That's all this crap is.
Oh my gosh,
And-
yeah.
And it waters down. It waters down the playoffs. Screw that. Go back old school. Let's go 7 games. Quit being stupid.
You guys, at the hockey
Rob,
game-
look, give me a better take. Let's hear your take. These guys are crazy. I like. Let's see.
Oh,
something
shut
different.
up.
No, I,
Better take.
I like going back to the old way of doing it. I think you have
Oh, yeah,
you
Chris
have
Miller.
three division winners and one wild card, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you have 2 teams go for that wild card, and that's it. To try to you're diluting, these teams that
No, it's all about everybody gets an ice cream cone, Rob.
it's
Oh,
almost like a
everybody makes
participation
money.
trophy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
MLB, it's called dollar. Everybody's making money.
Holler, holler.
but I think they got to find a way. There has to be a way that they can have their cake and eat it too when it comes to having teams that are able to play and maybe even having more, but also figuring out a way to keep the advantage to the team that deserves
That earned it.
every advantage for being the best team that finished the race in first place as far as the regular season is concerned. Again, I can't stress why in the hell do I want to win the division when I'm going to have to lose any momentum by sitting for a week and then turning out and playing a team that's hot. The Rangers are the hottest team right now. The Astros aren't too far behind. I get it. But I don't want to.
But the setup sucks.
I don't want to give the advantage to those teams and reward. I want to reward the team that did what they had to do to be the best
won
team.
All the games, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, here's my other question.
Don't say win games. Oh, just be better. That's the stupidest argument
ever. Got
ever.
another question. Here it goes.
Here's my question. My other question is: did they win? Did they have such a advantage in the regular season that they were resting players for days or weeks on end? So was that how? Because I'm asking because I didn't. Cardinals were out of it. I was done. Were they so far ahead they clinched the division in June that they had a month and a half where they had meaningless games? I mean, that happened with the Cardinals. That happened with the Cardinals time or two where they were a 100+ win team, didn't have any meaningful games late. They sat, they rested, they recouped. Next thing you know, they got out of whack because it wasn't the fact that they sat to go into the playoffs, the fact that they weren't in a regular routine for the last 3 weeks of the season.
Rob, what do you think on that one?
The Orioles did not clinch until like the last 2 weeks, I believe, of the season, because the Rays were still there. So I think that was definitely. I think they clinched the playoffs, maybe a little bit further out than that, but as far as winning the division, it did go down to, I believe, like the last 2 weeks of the season. So I don't know if you're really, if you're you're resting players. But in today's day and age, players are rested all the time anyway, regardless of where the standings are, it looks like. So, I mean.
Yeah, when I hear rested players, all I think about is the NBA, but go ahead.
Well, we all know that's done.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just more amplified because there's only 5 people on the court, I
mean, I get that, you rest players and you're trying to, you want to make sure they're fresh for the postseason, making a postseason run. But when you get to that point where you're ready to play and you're playing for the number one thing, why in the absolute hell are they giving so much time off? Again, there's no advantage to that.
I think, Chris, the reason why they do that, though, is so these teams can get their pitching staff in order. So they can go with their 1-2 punch or whatever, get that order in so they have those days off to give that team the benefit of saying, all right, my number 1's going to be my first day starter. My number 2 is going to go here. They can plan it out because you have those 5 days to plan it out.
Yeah, but I don't think that I get it, but we've talked about routines and we talked about kids and how they do routines and adults are the same way. I mean, you have a routine. We are creatures of habit, and pitchers and position players, baseball players in general are creatures of habit. And anybody want to disagree with that, I'd be more than happy to argue with you. And I was the worst baseball player of all time, and I still had a routine that I did as a player. So I think that when you take that routine away, then I think it really throws a wrench into it. I mean, now you need the sacrifice a chicken and do all kinds of other stuff to get the guys back where they need to be.
Are you saying maybe they're going to these buffets and they're getting some glitter? They're getting some glitter in their buffets, or maybe the wings, or
I mean, there's a chance, man.
is that why they're out of routine?
Yeah, it could be, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't live their lives.
The Urban Meyer throwing program.
Well, okay, Kevin, you're the resident. Kevin, you're in season right now. I mean, you're the resident softball coach. I mean, talk about it from your perspective as a coach.
This really kind of how this has fallen. We had 2 games canceled on last week.
Thanks,
right?
I couldn't hear that.
So we had 2 games canceled on us late last week. The last game we played was last Tuesday. So we are
I think Jim had something to do with that, but go ahead.
Well, Jim had nothing to. Jim had it right. Somebody else screwed it up.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, we did not get our Ted Drews paid for that night.
Now that I owe for, and
yeah. So
hey, he owes a lot of people, Kevin.
No, I only owe you and Kevin. Shut up.
I call BS.
We've had 3 really good practices this week, but I'm still worried that we haven't played in 10 days.
Yeah.
We haven't played a game in 10 days. We've tried to simulate as much as we can to do some other things. It's hard to do that, especially at the high school level.
And you're the 4 seed, right, Kevin?
We're a 4 seed playing a 5 seed. So it's a tough – and it's a team we played early in the year.
Who you playing?
We didn't play well, so it's another game. They know us, we know them. So I don't know what's going to expect.
Who are you playing?
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Saxony Lutheran.
Oh, okay.
But we got to
go private school. Get it.
So, but we got to drive all the way to Kelly in Benton, Missouri, to play that game.
Public school. Yeah.
So,
well, that's why Chris Miller is driving the bus to keep your scorebook too, Kevin.
No, Chris Miller's driving the bus to get some money.
Well,
hey,
Chris,
by the way, you guys noticed who got a shout out last week on the 2 Files?
Yes. Chris is going to be keeping a scorebook tomorrow too. I'm just saying that.
BS.
I hate to keep agreeing with my brother because that's kind of scary. But practice is not the same as competition. It's not.
It's exactly right. I'm trying.
Right.
It's gonna probably take us an inning or 2 or a time through the lineup to kind of get settled in a little bit tomorrow. And that scares me because it's a winner.
You can lose a game in an inning.
It's a win or go home situation.
Just ask Clayton Kershaw. He lost the game in an inning too. He didn't even make it an inning. that was over. The series is now over.
When the Dodgers suck, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I'd say people. And we could absolutely come out and play extremely well because we are rested. We are doing those things. It's a little bit different than the major league.
And you guys have a coach who's won over 200 games.
That's some good coaching.
You know, what do you do?
Yeah, well.
I've
also lost 160 games plus, so let's not get too much.
Still, that's way above 500.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Is the other team also sitting for the same amount of period?
No, they played earlier this week, but so
that is tough.
And you've got homecoming to worry about. The homecoming weeks is more worrisome than sitting.
Throwing that in too, and then because it rains and we get pushed to Saturday, I got to do it. Teenage girls on homecoming dance day.
A football coach's dream. They love, they love. Coach Boss has been in such a good mood this week. Right? I mean, Coach Boss is happy about homecoming.
Hey, by the way, that was a nice barbecue outfit you wore today, Jarvis.
Did you see me? Me and Bobby DeMullen had the barbecue dads going. I'll tell you what, I have enjoyed this homecoming more than I've probably ever enjoyed a homecoming. I dressed up. Tomorrow I'm screwed. It's aliens and cowboys, and I have nothing.
Oh, you got the flannel. Put the flannel
it's got
on.
the flannel.
I have flannel, but I don't have boots. I don't have kickers. I don't have nothing.
Walgreens opens up at 7 a.m. You can get it done.
Sounds like a personal problem. I know.
Walgreens. What the hell? Walgreens has got cowboy boots.
Who goes to
Walmart? I mean Walmart. I'm sorry. I apologize.
He said Walgreens.
I did. I meant Walmart. I'm sorry.
Absolutely insane.
You owe me $26. Get it done.
It's 30 now interest. Let's just bump it up now and get it over.
Okay, it's 30. And tomorrow it'll be 35.
Inflation.
Hey, you want to go
no. Listen,
next week?
Yeah,
you want to go double or nothing next week?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
no. Hey, you gotta watch.
Since you don't think I'm going to be on the show next week, I'm going to be on the show next week.
We got a dude from Jersey that's on the show right now. He knows some guys. He's gonna. Hey, you're in a world of hurt now.
He got some boogies.
Rob. Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Oh boy,
hey, Rob.
Yep.
What is your podcast? Throw it out there again. Just.
So my main podcast is the Nova Nation podcast, where we talk about Villanova basketball, both men's and women's. We give just as much time to the women's game as we do the men's
awesome.
Game. So that's my main podcast. And then for the Let's Talk Sports Network, I do a couple of other podcasts for football season. Because I am the only Charger fan on the network, I do a lot of shows.
You're on the East Coast. What do you expect?
Yeah. But we're hard to find. So I do a lot
That'd
of
be like me being a Chicago Cub fans in Missouri.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Charger fans, but they stayed in San Diego and said, "Piss on the Chargers now." Kind of like what we did with the Rams. Like we're all Rams fans, but St. Louis Rams fans.
Yep.
And I don't even know. I mean, I actually know several people who came from, were born in San Diego and were Chargers fans. And then when they left, they're just like, yeah, that's it. I don't even care about football anymore. And that was my childhood. And thanks a lot. So see ya. And
I was bitter there for probably the first year, but I mean, at this point in time, business is business. It is what it is. And
I don't like you,
biggest-
Rob. No, Rob, you sound like a Stan Kroenke fan.
Well, wait. No, listen. The worst thing.
Here's
I'm going to tell you,
Jarvis.
The worst thing about the Chargers to me is the ownership.
Stan Kroenke controls
the ownership. The ownership is the worst. So
it's still Spanos, right?
It's still Spanos. They're cheap. Yep. They're horrible. And
I said they're horrible.
They are. Yeah. They're the reason why, we've had, Philip Rivers for 20 years and never.
Philip Rivers was a good quarterback.
He was good.
Yeah, he was good. He was real good, but he didn't have anybody, that could get him to the next level and win a Super Bowl. So
the Chargers messed up when they got rid of Marty Schottenheimer.
That was the worst move ever.
And I'm going to say this. Everybody talks about Kroenke. Remember, I'm from Northeast Ohio. I lived through that Art Modell dumpster fire on what he did.
When he pulled out.
Yes. You want to talk about bitter? I threw all of my Brown stuff into a garbage bag and basically threw it in my closet.
Jason threw all of his Browns into the toilet last week.
I just cleaned it up there.
There's Matt Schutte. The OG host. Yes.
Hey, you better introduce him before Rob goes, what the hell? Are they just letting everybody in?
Yeah, we are actually.
They are just letting everybody in.
This is Matt Schutte. He was the original host of the Coach's Box when we first started back in March of 2020 during the pandemic.
Right here in this basement, buddy.
Right here in Jarvis's basement.
Yep.
Is that hole in the ceiling fixed?
Is your last name Hallbrook?
Hey,
all you need is 2 more boxes. We're like the Brady Bunch.
Oh, okay, Ray Hallbrook. Hey, Ray Hallbrook Jr. and third.
Wow.
Where's Blair?
Hey, you guys. Hey, there's a reason why we kicked you off.
So, anyway, we'll discuss all that later, Shooty. But
where's Blair?
We'll discuss that later.
God, nope.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. But how's life as the El Presidente of St. Francis Borgia?
I got an advertisement from the El Presidente of Borgia.
You did?
So did I.
They raised a bunch of money, evidently. Private schools, that's what they do.
We did okay. We raised $175,000 yesterday for our annual giving day.
Man, that's awesome.
So
it doesn't cost anything to go to the Borgia.
Well, it doesn't cost as much as you would think. It's still less than $10,000. So
I get it.
Listen, what
Jarvis, financial aid. It's not scholarships.
What Jarvis doesn't realize is we don't get the bond issues and the tax money that public schools do.
Oh my God. Well, listen, we can fill a bus stop with what Jarvis doesn't realize about
oh my God.
So, but you're absolutely right. I just got shot down trying to get some government money for safety improvements. But I can fundraise off
the
of that,
government.
Right? Government doesn't want to help us out. We find people who can. So, gentlemen, I asked Kevin and Jim to get me on because I have a request. I have an invitation for Coach Miller.
Oh, yes.
So, as some of you know, Jim, I think you may have been out there before, but one of the big Thanksgiving tournaments in the St. Louis region each year is the Turkey Tournament hosted by St. Francis Borgia High School.
Yep.
We just had a team back out.
Oh.
And so it's an 18 tournament that only has 7 teams. And now
Here we go.
Miller's schedule, he doesn't have it uploaded to Misha's site yet, so I don't know if he's busy the week of Thanksgiving. I know Mr. Jarvis has a game the week of Thanksgiving, but then he doesn't have another one till December 5th. And so I was talking to our AD, and you guys, some of you know him, Chris Aaron, one of the best ADs around, and he said, if you're going to be talking to those boys, see if either one of them be interested in bringing their team up. So I said, you know what, I'll hop on and see what the guys have to say. Hi, Rob, how are you up there in the corner?
Nice to meet you.
Listen, I take it off the rails. The little ADHD just kind of, squirrel. It'll go here and there. So, but I'm actually trying to conduct actual business this time. So, gentlemen, open invitation. If either of you would like that spot, we'd love to have either one of your teams.
And the hospitality room
you guys
is the
graduated
best
some
in
decent
the
players. If you want to
area.
bring a combo team up, maybe Herky and Pius can put some combination together.
There ain't no way in hell I'm comboing anything with him.
Jarvis,
Chris
I make
is
you
only
the head
going.
coach.
Chris is only going if you have Kickapoo, CBC, Vashon. That's the only tournaments.
I respect you, Zach. Shut up.
Hey, Zach, you are no longer on his coaching staff, so you have no say.
Hey, by the way, I me and Earl Austin, we do our rankings of hospitality rooms during all the tournaments, and Borgia is always in the top 2. Every
We do a great
year.
job.
I will
do
say,
a great
Pilot
job. We
was-
feed the visiting teams. You need some pizzas or something to take home on the way home. We'll take care of that. So, yeah, I would just seriously. I've seen how you guys coach. I love what you do with your teams, regardless of what you've got coming in. You get the most out of those, and our fans respect that when they see that. And I'm not even sure exactly who all's in it. I know, obviously, us, Union. And Union suffered a terrible injury in football that's going to ruin them for or not ruin their basketball season, but their point guard is done for the year. Major knee injury, so he's out. Washington's always in it. Owensville's been in it several years. I'm not sure if U-City's coming back or not, but should be a good tournament, and it's a good environment. I think it's a great environment for the kids to play in. Our fans show up regardless of who's playing. We've got a little flexibility on the first couple days. You're guaranteed 3 games. So just wanted to invite you boys to think about it.
How could you say no after that pitch?
Just say no, Jarvis.
Hey,
We're out. We're in 3 tournaments, 16 games, full schedule.
So, well, Mr.
Miller?
I have one
used to be part of
open game, and I couldn't play in a tournament if I wanted to right now. So one open. We have 25 games.
I want you to do me a
God
favor,
dang,
since you
Jarvis.
seem to have your pulse on the finger on the pulse of high school basketball coaching.
Shooty, I will get the word out for you tomorrow morning,
yes.
first thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a late drop by one of the teams, and
I
that,
feel
you know,
like we had this same conversation.
we did.
last year.
We did.
No,
We did.
And it doesn't it just it burns your gears when teams do that.
yeah,
When they drop, yeah.
yeah, it's it makes it tough for sure. And last year, Blair and I talked about it a couple of times because we had that happen with our women's tournament as well, and just didn't get a chance to get that done. But that's one of those things I've told our ADs that if either of these guys ever want to bring a team up, that we'd love to have you. And I think it'd be a great environment for you guys to play in.
I should have done it last year.
Should have. You had a hell of a point guard that could have come up and showcased. So we had some pretty good players last year, and we lost 1,000-point scorer off that team, but we've got a guy that should climb into the top 6 for us all time.
Oh, there you go.
Adam
Go
Rickman.
play against them. Yeah, that'd be great.
So, we're
Oh,
senior
shit.
heavy, but there's a lot of guys that haven't played quite as much because we played a lot of seniors last year too. So
I thought you were going to invite me to the stupid St. Louis City soccer game, and I was going to be really pissed at you and say you're not ever allowed to be on the show. By the way, Rob, I hate soccer with a freaking passion.
And I'm
I
with them.
respect without not our respect word. I respect the athleticism and the skill it takes to play soccer. But I could not stand to watch a soccer game. You could pay me money, and I think I would actually not do it seriously,
I
because
gotta
I
pick out
don't
a
enjoy it.
Coach a
Hey, I will
basketball
say
game,
this.
you'll understand that he doesn't understand the nuances of soccer.
If
That's one.
Chris gets invited to a city game by Shooty before me, I'm going to be uber pissed.
Yeah, and then before me.
Aw.
It should be
Listen,
Kevin
Jarvis
first, then
Jarvis
me.
is the only one on this dais making public school money. He's the only one that can afford to go to a city game.
But
I don't know what kind of crap you're eating.
So
I know you're.
Rob,
I
do you
know-
follow soccer?
No, not at all.
There you go.
I know you're making triple what I'm making, buddy.
me? No, I'm just happy to be part of God's plan.
it's a vocation.
Wow, on that note.
On that note, boys, I'm going to sign off and get back to my
get
home
out of
and
here.
marathon.
Get out of here.
Thanks for coming on, Shooty. We need to talk and catch you up to speed on some stuff. Maybe even
for
after we get
sure.
off the air.
Gotcha. I'll be around. So yeah, I'm hoping to come down and join you guys live sometime here soon. Catch up.
We
with
can do that.
everybody.
We can
So,
do that.
We can do that.
Before we get off, and I don't know when I'll see you talk to you guys again. Jason and Chris, wish you guys the best of luck with your seasons. Greg, good to see you again. Kevin, I think you've got districts coming up.
Yeah, I got to go to Benton, Missouri tomorrow.
Hey,
Oh, that
you're
sounds
talking
like
to a
heaven.
200
driving.
game winner right there.
And Jim, thank you. Jim and Chris, thank you guys for giving our football team a little love. Lutheran St. Charles came in. We were hoping to keep it close, and we hung it on them pretty good. And
Good.
That was fun for our boys. So 5-2, heading out of town, heading to Fredericktown tomorrow, and then finish with.
It'll be a
Tupelo,
win.
and then,
That's a win.
yeah, we've got a chance. If we play well, if we win out, we should be the 1 seed in our district, and that gives us a bye and then 2 home games, hopefully, and then we'll see. But the Rickman kid that plays basketball so well had never played football before, and he's one of the top kickoff guys in the state now. He's putting 90% of his kicks into the end zone, so he's getting some attention from the gridiron at the college level as well. So fun guy to watch. But
awesome.
yeah, I just wanted to come in and invite those guys. Again, Jason, Chris, anytime you'd want to come up and get in that tournament, let us know. We'd love to get you on there, and we'll go from there. So you guys enjoy the rest of the show or whatever it is you guys do with this thing. Rob, God bless.
Hey, El Presidente. See ya.
All right. See you, gentlemen.
See you, buddy.
Bye, OG.
That was Matt Shooty, our original host of the Coach's Box when we first got going. Yeah, that's what he was, man. Does a great job. Does a good job on broadcasts too. We'll have to get him on a sports broadcast at some point.
That'd be awesome.
If I can get Jim to ever learn how to use the equipment, he could do that. Oh, sorry.
Maybe
Jim,
next
you're right
week.
there.
You never know.
Maybe. You never know.
I've heard he's not good with using equipment, but whatever.
And on that note,
Okay, Mr. Technology. I can't put it in Facebook.
Rob, I appreciate you coming on. I don't know if I'll ever see you again now, but
Thank you for having me, guys. This is I mentioned to Chris before, when I watch this show, it reminds me of like how I am with my friends, and there's 5 or 6 of us from high school that I've known my whole life, and this is just a great thing that you guys got going on, and thank you for having me on.
Hey, Rob, believe it or not, we have not all known each other our whole life.
I know, that's wild.
Yeah. So even though we haven't, I think we have a good thing going here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we enjoyed doing it, and appreciate the kind words. I mean, you've given us shout outs on your shows, and obviously you don't have to do that, but we appreciate it. And anytime that you got something you want to discuss, you want to jump in, we'll keep you in mind, especially when we do these virtual shows. Obviously we can't do on location until you invite us out to the Jersey Shore, and then
we're gonna be fist bumping, baby.
Hey, hold on. Talk about Jersey. Hold on. Talk about Trout. If you're Trout, what do you do? Do you stay in LA or do you go?
No, he plays center field in St. Louis. That was neat to do.
What's Jersey think about what Trout should do?
Well, I mean, Jersey would say sign with the Phillies.
Yep.
I don't, whether they can afford him, don't know. I mean, he would have to take some kind of like discount to sign with the Phillies. I don't know if he's willing to do that. So obviously it's going to come down to money with him. And but this area they're pining for him to be playing center field for him next year.
I can see that. I mean, he's one of the best ever, and we could definitely discuss and debate that one too. But we will unfortunately have to save that for another time. But Rob, appreciate you coming on and being a part of this madness. And hopefully you're not a stranger. And again, don't forget to tune in to the Nova Nation podcast. Rob is a true professional. That's probably why he wonders about coming on our show, because we are definitely not professional here. But we just again, it's a great podcast. You tune in, especially if you're a fan of Villanova or if you're just a fan of basketball in general, and check that out. And again, Rob, wish you the best and all the luck, and hopefully, and your son, I know, has been playing a lot of basketball, and we're big basketball fans here.
Great
and
sport.
yes,
Yep.
great. It's the best sport, but hopefully, he continues to improve, and we get to see some big things from him coming as he gets older.
I hope so. That would be great if that happens, but it's a lot of work, and he's willing to do it. So, like, you just fan the flames. Hopefully it keeps burning.
Absolutely. Well, that's been another episode of the Coach's Box. Hopefully we'll be back next week. We don't get kicked off the air. You can tune in tomorrow for Jim's show, On the Move with the Caravan sports preview show. We'll be talking about some great football matchups in Missouri and in Illinois for this coming week. So
Illinois, really?
Yeah, there's a big matchup in Illinois.
East St. Louis, Edwardsville for the SWC championship.
Hey, it's East St. Louis and not Belleville.
Not Belleville.
Not Belleville. That's a little teaser there. So anyway, don't forget to tune into that tomorrow. It's going to be on at noon tomorrow, and if you can't watch it at noon, you can watch it any other time. It is free. It's always free. And for all the guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. We will see you guys again next week. Good night. God bless, and take care. Be safe.
Deuces.
This episode of the Coach's Box, Call It Like We See It podcast is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.